Alright, looks like they were able to find a stand-in. So, we will have a game. It's a little bit delayed, so sorry about that, but we are going to get underway here shortly. So stay tuned, and the Dota will commence right now by the looks of it. So I'm going to kill the music and jump over to the game. Alright, so while we get loaded up here, welcome everyone to twitch.tv/DarminCast. I will be your host for the night. My name is Darmin. And we are going to have a matchup here in the AD2L Season 9 Heroic Bracket between Firestarters and PeeNoise. PeeNoise were just able to fill their roster in time, grabbing up at Jericho as a stand-in. So, they're going to be operating with a stand-in. Let me get some of this. Reset my levels here, so we're a bit soft. We're loading up. We got Spraying Baton 69 is the final loader here, and he is finally ready to go, and we're into the draft. So, Team PeeNoise, also listed as Waza, is going were the home team, and so they opted to select the Radiant side. So Firestarter is going to have their choice of first ban and first pick, and they're starting off by banning out the Alchemist with Waza. I'm probably just going to refer to them as PeeNoise, as that's what they're listed as in the AD2L tournament bracket, banning out the Doom.
10 seconds remaining.
Both bans very
5
common
seconds
in
remaining.
the first ban phase of this current meta, as both of those heroes are able to farm up exceptionally well and carry into the 40-50 minute mark fairly effectively. Their struggle after that point is that they can eventually get kited around and lose the ability to nuke down heroes inside of a single stun or doom or something like
10
that.
seconds remaining.
Doom loses some of his speed after Scorched Earth
Team pick.
is dropped, and then it's just a crowd control game. But won't see either of those heroes. We also won't see a Gyrocopter or a Shadow Fiend, as both heroes
Radiant
are
team pick.
banned out. Next, who we will see is a Winter Wyvern being picked up by Firestarter. A very common support pickup, predominantly due to Cold Embrace. You see a lot of Winter Wyverns, you see a lot of Dazzles these days, because of these healing mechanics and the ability to save allies. So much like VS used to be one of the platinum tier supports, you now see these heroes that have the ability to save their allies and provide heal and sustain during the early team fight pushes. Waza picking up Tusker, who also has a save mechanic inside his Snowball. You see Tusker played a couple different ways. Most often you see him
10 seconds
as a pseudo support / initiator who snowballs into danger, throws out some ice shards and walrus punches the target, and then tries to escape. You also see him as kind of a saving hero, as he often picks up a blink dagger, and what he'll do is he'll blink forward to an ally who's in danger and snowball and pull that ally into the snowball to save him, 10-15 seconds of life, to allow the rest of the team to circle around and see what they can do to counter initiate.
5 seconds
with
remaining.
AA being the second pickup by Waza, they're going to have so far Team Frost,
team ban.
as both heroes are very cold driven, and
Radiant
Firestarter pick up the Wind Ranger, who's been seeing a lot of play in the middle lane. She can still play the off lane as a viable off lane. So right now Firestarter haven't revealed too much of their hand, whereas
team pick.
Waza picking up the Clockwork that's definitely going to be an off lane for them, and so Tusker is most likely going to be that fourth slot initiate / support role, with Ancient Apparition playing the hard fifth, which can be a bit of a setback for AA because as the fourth position, or as the hard fifth support, you're not going to get nearly as much gold and not nearly as much experience to get the second level of Ice Blast that you need to
Radiant team
really
pick.
make it a true global threat. Firestarter responds to the Clockwork pick by picking up a Phoenix. So we will most likely see the Wind Ranger in the middle lane with the Phoenix in the off lane. And both teams have yet to pick their hard carry. But a number of hard carries have been banned out in the second phase. You got PL,
10 seconds
Anti-Mage,
remaining.
Ember Spirit, and Spectre all getting banned out.
Dire team pick.
And for now, they're not going to reveal their hand too much as PeeNoise pick up a Queen of Pain to go against Wind Ranger in the middle lane. This is the exact same matchup in the mid lane that I just witnessed in the Complexity versus Cloud9 game that was being played in Star Ladder, and in that matchup, in the hands of professional players,
10
Queen of
seconds
Pain
remaining.
had a slight edge over
5
Wind
seconds
Ranger, as Queen of
remaining.
Pain was able to hit level 6 a little bit quicker and had the nuke damage that
Reserve
Wind
time.
Ranger wasn't able to outrun and dodge. So Wind Ranger will have to be on our toes. Pun not really intended, but she'll be able to dodge some of the Queen of Pain's right-click damage, but the poisons and the screams and the sonic waves, those are all going to connect regardless of her evasion. So Team Firestarter eating into some of their reserve time here as they think long and hard about this fourth pick. I suspect they'll pick up their fourth slot, so another support or jungler or roamer, someone like that, and keep their hard carry a secret for now so as not to get counterpicked. But they're about half through their reserve time and they'll have to be making a choice here shortly. While they're doing that, I'm going to play with the audio a little. Get that ambient Dota music rolling. And we're into the final seconds here of Firestarter's reserve time. So they're milking this for all it's worth.
10 seconds remaining.
I'm sure they're
Venomancer.
figuring out their
Radiant
final two
team
picks
ban.
because they won't have a bunch of time to debate about it for the next ban and the next pick phase. They do opt to go with Venomancer, and so far they have a
10
pretty
seconds
balanced
remaining.
draft. They have the ability to push inside of the Venomancer and Wind Ranger.
5 seconds
They have
remaining.
teamfight mechanics inside the Phoenix and Winter Wyvern, so
Reserve time.
the birds represent their teamfight mechanics
team
with Wind
ban.
Ranger and Venomancer providing some of their push capabilities. Right now, there's a lot of high mobility on Team Waza. They have Clockwork's Hookshot, Queen of Pain Blink, the Tusker Snowball,
10
and
seconds
Ancient Apparition
remaining.
with his global ultimate is able to participate in fights
5
from anywhere on the
seconds
map.
remaining.
But they don't have a ton of pushing mechanics for themselves
Reserve
right now. And as
time.
they banned out
5 seconds
Phantom Lancer,
remaining.
that won't be available to them. We may see, I'd like to see maybe a hard carry Naga Siren, but they already know what they
Dire
want, and
team
that is a
pick.
Wraith King. So Firestarter ban out a Slark, but Waza were already hovering over that Wraith King by the looks of it, and picked it up immediately. Now Firestarter taking a little bit more time here with this final pick, and picking a Wraith King is your fifth slot is always throws a snowball into things, because now you have to think, okay, how are we going to go about either kiting this
10
hero
seconds
around or
remaining.
burning his mana? Team PeeNoise
5 seconds
intelligently banned
remaining.
out anti-mage already, so that will be unavailable to them
Juggernaut.
as their hard carry, and they go with a Juggernaut in this case. So the durability is definitely going to favor the Radiant team here, as they have 3 strength heroes on the Tusker, Clockwork, and Wraith King, but we'll see if that's going to be enough to secure them a victory. And since it is Dota, we start the game with the obligatory pause screen. As it looks like Tusker was the one to drop. And Tusker was also the one who was having difficulties connecting to the game. So it may be something with his connection, it may be something with his client, not quite sure. Oh yeah, you like those cosmetics? Those are pretty sexy, aren't they? Those hard blue cosmetics. But going through introductions here, well, we have the teams paused out. We have Popoi Bangus playing the AA. The Queen of Pain will be played by Mosey. On the disconnected Tusker, it's Sprang Baton. It's not letting me highlight him since I believe he's AFK. You have Feel It in Your Bones coming from the Witch Doctor in-game audio file. Playing the Clockwork. And standing above the team here is Jericho, the stand-in for Waza, or PeeNoise if you will, playing the Wraith King. So they're opting to have their stand-in play the hard carry. Across the pond here on Team Firestarter, we have Winter Wyvern and Phoenix side by side, both flexing their wings. Winter Wyvern being played by Dorelius? I'm gonna go with Dorelius. The Venomancer will be played by Kupo. Playing the ponytailed Wind Ranger with the flower in her hair. The mythical hair is going to be ABC 123. And I'm not saying that name all the time, so ABC is going to be playing Wind Ranger. The Phoenix and his one cosmetic look is going to be played by Mag. And then the Juggernaut roaming through the woods here is going to be played by Clar's Walking Midas. So have a shout out to Jay, who's presumably the one who was originally scheduled to play but had to hit the bench. And you're getting shout outs to a bunch of people's mothers
30
because
seconds to battle.
what would Dota be if it didn't have at least a little bit of trolling? It looks like these initial runes are going to go 1 for 1, as both teams are keeping a pretty heavy presence on what I would call their defensive rune. Shout out to Night Train, shout out to Moms, shout out to Jay, shout out to cats, since it is National Cat Day. Or so I've been told by
May the best
cat
team
lovers
win.
and Facebook.
Worthy tribute.
Every coin helps.
Mag throwing out a little
I wonder how
diving
this will turn
harassment
out.
there, but I think he was just trying to pick off the bounty rune, which he did not succeed in. So in this safe lane for fire starters, you're going to have Clars supported by Kupo and Dorelius. So you're going to have the defensive tri-lane in both of the lanes here. In the bottom lane you have Spray Baton harassing out Mag, and you have a couple stacked stuns here, and that's going to allow Mag to escape. If they had staggered the Wraith King stun after the snowball, and especially if the cold feet had landed after that, it would have been more than enough to secure the kill, as Phoenix is sitting on only 473 HP to start with, as she picked up Tangos and Observer Ward and some armor to start the game off with, so no additional HP items. And Spraying Baton is definitely doing a decent job here of harassing the Phoenix out of experience and keeping her at bay in the middle lane. You have Mosey on the Queen of Pain versus ABC, and you can see ABC's already taken quite a bit of damage just from the level 1 Shadow Strike. And now Mosey blinks across, is going to hit it with another Shadow Strike, try to throw some right clicks in, and while those will miss, the Shadow Strike poison damage is doing its work and taking ABC down.
Middle is missing.
She's gonna salve up and get ready to head back into the fight here. She was pulled a couple tangos, had a salve of her own and an old talisman. But Queen of Pain is going to continuously throw out that harassment damage. You do have Dorelius rotating down, spotting out the haste rune in the bottom lane. PeeNoise pick up the bounty rune. Wyvern picks up haste and just returns back to his lane. We'll see if he looks to harass with it, but instead he cuts back and he decides to eye out the Queen of Pain. He pops his flight here and dives in, but Mosey was quick on the draw, blinked back, and she'll be fine. She's getting close to that bottle territory, so if I was Dorelius, I might have used that haste rune to hang out over here and just spot out the courier, as it is now on its way with that bottle to the Queen of Pain. So it would have been a free pick off, and it would have provided ABC with a lot of space, since Mosey has been keeping herself near empty on mana, just shadow striking pretty much off cooldown. Blinking forward, trying to re-engage here, and ABC catches it. You have some back and forth going on in the bottom lane here, but Jericho and Popoi are going to be going on the Phoenix, and Mag is the first to fall in this game, giving up first blood to the defensive tri-lane of PeeNoise. That kill went to AA, so not the ideal target, but a kill is a kill, and it provides them with experience and a little bit of gold. Looks like this Wraith King is going to be building towards a Midas. And not seeing a Midas on Lars that he would be building towards. So with the lineup that both teams have picked, especially going Midas on Jericho, you're going to see the Radiant side definitely try to take this game as late as possible. Mojism, well, welcome to the chat. Giving me a shout out in Twitch chat there, I appreciate it.
Now for your
and as I'm sitting here interacting with chat, I miss another kill in the bottom lane as they dive into the tier 1 tower. Phoenix was able to finish off the Tusker first, but then Wraith King did pick up his first kill of the match.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
So the bottom lane proving to be the bloodiest so far, as all 3 kills have been in this lane. And immediately Mag teleports back to lane, as does Spraying Baton, who brings with him a Sentry Ward, trying to spot out Mag's Observer Ward. It's not going to be there, but he rolls in, trying to stack the stuns this time, and he's able to do so, but there's no follow-up damage, so Mag will duck under the tower and be safe. Meanwhile, on the top lane, you have Clockwork just kind of farming up, getting experience. He's got 6 last hits, so definitely not a ton. 6 minutes into the game, as Kupla and Doralius. I'm going to struggle with that one. Stack up the neutral
One
camps
of the heroes
and
experienced some
pull.
technical difficulties.
Mojism, thank you very much. He was sharing the Twitch channel with Reddit apparently and trying to provide the link to Reddit and getting blocked out by Moobot. So, Moobot is there for a reason though. There's unfortunately a shit ton of bots in Twitch, and in the bottom lane Phoenix is going to pop his egg for the first time and ultimately fall, but Kupo throwing out some poison damage on Jericho as Jericho's picked up in a snowball by spraying baton, and they're making a dive, but they let him off the hook just as he enters the tier 1 tower, so spraying baton was able to save Jericho from the poison damage, but not pick up the additional kill. So Phoenix was able to finish off the AA in his death rolls, even though Tusker apparently killed Phoenix first. So you kill the egg and then the afterglow of that supernova finishes off the AA. Some friendly competitive banter in Twitch chat here as Lavender Esports, also in this division, are rooting for Team Firestarter here. Both teams in the same bracket, same division, and really close to one another in points. Lavender Esports picking up another 2 points of their win today. Are sitting about, I think they're 3 points ahead of the Firestarters right now, but in the middle lane, Moise's going to get sniped out by the Wind Rangers. Wind Ranger was battling over the top rune in between the poison from Kupo and the power shot coming out from Wind Ranger. It'll be enough to drop the Queen of Pain. Top lane, you have the first tower of the match being dropped as Doralius and Claws push forward, keeping this clockwork forever at bay. He's trying to rock it, to tenderize the meat, if you will, but
I see that
Juggernaut still has a few tangos, and Winter Wyvern has plenty of
middle
charges.
tower may need a hand.
Winter Wyvern used that top rejuvenation rune to heal up, and now she's sitting pretty as she engages into this tier 1 tower herself. So far, scoreboard's reading even at 3-3, but I'd say Firestarter have a slight lead as they're 1 tower ahead.
Radiant's middle tower is
finished
not
his
safe.
Midas, picked himself up a healing salve so he can remain in lane. He surged forward to Midas a creep there because he was comfortable that even if the Phoenix dove, he had reincarnation and he'd be able to just respawn. It would be a burnt ult for Midasing a creep, but hey, it's money's money. Now you have some heavy rotations and a smoke coming out from PeeNoise as they rotate into the middle lane. Here you have a blink from Moise. Looks like Sonic Wave is slightly off the mark, but it's not going to matter as the burst damage from Spray, Popoi, and Moise is enough to drop the Wind Ranger. Now in the bottom lane, you're probably going to see Jericho fall for the first time, popping his ultimate, but Kupo's inside of tower range here, and Jericho's slow mechanic is going to be enough to drop him within a single hit from Wraith King's stun, and for that he'll get a kill. He also had a rocket coming in from Clockwork just in case Venomancer tried to make a clever escape, as well as a heavy rotation from the 2 supports and the Queen of Pain hanging out in the Roche pit here with the Viz. And she blinks forward and catches Mag as he tries to run away, and by herself is able to drop the Supernova ultimate from Phoenix. And that'll be a solo kill going to Queen of Pain.
Radiant's middle
the right
tower
place
is
at the
under
right
attack.
time. I don't know if Mag had finished his
Radiant's middle
dive,
tower was
if he would have
smashed
been far
into
enough
pieces.
away to escape death there. but
Dire's bottom tower is
the
in
world may
turmoil.
never know, as in this case, he did fall, and now was four-manning into the bottom lane, looking to
Dire's
even
bottom
out the
tower
score
is in
a
turmoil.
little bit more here by taking down a tower of their own.
Dire's bottom tower is on its way
Mag and
further
Kupo
down.
positioning to defend. You have pings coming out from PeeNoise here as they spot out the mag. And they back off the tower, rotate back to the lanes, and get back to the game that they should be trying to implement here, which is spread out. Yes, Mojism. I should announce mature content when Mojism is in the channel. I concur. He is not for the faint of heart. But as I was saying, Team Waza here spread out and they're farming up the jungle. You have Popoi here stacking up some of the camps,
Radiant's top
presumably
tower is
for
under attack.
Wraith King to get even more farm in the future here. And the name of the game for Waza is going to be stall the game out, defend at least their tier 2 towers as long as they can, and definitely this bottom lane. They want to have access to all of this farm down here. Mag diving in, throwing out the burn, and then drops the egg, and it's going to be enough to drop Tusker. Now you have heavy rotations coming in from the rest of Team Firestarter, and they make it a 3-for-0 kill. As not only that, but then Juggernaut spies the creep
Dire's middle
stack,
tower is under fire.
takes it for himself. He'll have to drop the healing ward and get some reinforcements from his supports, but that'll be a bunch of gold and a bunch of time and effort stolen away from Waza as they give up
Dire's middle
a triple
tower is
kill,
under
a
attack.
creep stack, and presumably this bottom and final tier 1 tower of theirs. They are going to have the clockwork rotating in,
Dire's middle
but he is
tower
currently
in the
outnumbered
wrong
5-1, and
end
even with the
of
rotation
Radiant
here
has reinforced their
from Tusker,
structures.
it's going to be 5 versus 2, and by throwing out the rockets, he actually exposed himself. So Kappa is going to walk forward, throw out his poison ultimate. He'll likely die here to Baton. Nope, there's enough firepower coming out from Firestarters that none of them are going to die, and the 5 versus 2 encounter, it's going to be hard
Dire's middle tower
to
is
win
under
that
fire.
battle, and they give up another 2
Dire
kills
just
for nothing.
fortified
So
their structures.
that bottom push yielded Firestarters a kill on AA, 2 kills on Tusker, a kill on Wraith King, a tower, and a kill on Clockwork. And in return, looks like Mosey got a little bit of damage done to this middle tier 1 tower, but not even enough to drop it. It is actually approaching deny range. ABC rotating to the top rune here and picking up an invis. But
Dire's middle
Firestarters
tower is
are
under attack. Dire's middle tower is lost.
still hanging out in the Radiant jungle here, and they make a dive on AA. That'll be another kill going the way of Firestarters. But they're getting cut off here, so they need to be careful about which path they choose to retreat. And they're going back together, but you have a Queen of Pain and a smoked up 3-man stack behind her. The Plague Ward is going to catch out the Queen of
Radiant's
Pain, and
bottom
now it's
tower
going to
has a
spot the
nasty
Tusker.
situation.
They are able to isolate Kubo, so he will likely fall here. Mag revealing himself with some Firebirds, and the pings come out from Team Waza as they surge forward. Going to have the snowball forward into the Supernova, but oh, at the last second, Duralius walks forward, throws out his Winter's Curse onto the Wraith King, and that's going to stop them from killing the Supernova and yield them at least 2 kills here as they're able to make the turn on Clockwork and Wraith King.
Radiant's top tower needs bandages.
Queen of Pain getting out with nothing, with let's call it 1 HP. And
Radiant's top tower is getting walloped.
everyone's looking to catch a piece of her as she escapes. They're checking the woods. You had Juggernaut cutting through the enemy jungle, and they know she's around here somewhere,
Radiant's
but they're not
top
quite
tower
sure
needs
where. Most
bandages.
be careful not to blink. Into the lane right now, you have the AA Blast running forward and kind of clearing the path, so she should have identified right now that she's safe. But she opts to just hang out, and instead she's going to courier herself a talent portal scroll, which is probably... she has a full inventory, so making a little trade right there. But that's the safer path right now, and the rest of her allies are hanging out behind the tier 2 tower here ready to defend. This is what I'm talking about. Now, Team Waza have essentially lost access to their jungle, and this territory is owned by fire starters. If they go in here, they're dead. Right now you have 4 heroes from fire starters applying aggressive pressure to this bottom lane. And as a result, you have 4 heroes from PeeNoise hanging out behind this tier 2 tower, not getting gold, not getting experience, just scared to move. In the top lane you have Clockwork, but he's so far away from the creep wave that he's not getting experience either. He sees the Venomancer there, but he needs to be very careful. Oh, missing action in the bottom lane here as Phoenix does make another successful supernova dive, and is able to pick off the Queen of Pain. Now Wraithkin goes down, but he is going to have his ultimate this time. Clar's spinning away from danger as he was likely going to fall there if he got hit by the stun, but Mag takes the bullet instead and falls after his successful supernova. Now ABC positioning himself on the outer edge of Jericho and tethering him to the forest, but after a few shots decides she doesn't quite have the damage yet, blinks away to safety, and their team disengage. So it's a 2-for-2 trade as AA Queen of Pain fall in exchange for a Phoenix and a Winter Wyvern. And I missed the start of that encounter, so apologies for that. I was taking you to this top encounter where you're going to have Mosey and Kupo going at it this time, with Mosey winning the exchange. But a lot of poison damage ticking her down. And it'll fade, so sitting at 130 damage, or 130 HP left. So when you have the heavy nuke damage versus the heavy poison over time, the heavy nuke damage is always going to win you that upfront battle. And it's just a matter of whether or not the poison damage was going to be enough to secure the kill after death. You have Clockwork missiles and AA Blast being tossed into this bottom lane constantly to try to keep it pushed out and keep some of the territory free for farming. Pain picking up a bounty rune for herself and immediately popping it. You have AA Blast. Looks like it'll just be grass here, and does connect with the Wind Ranger. Mag hanging out in the enemy jungle. Supernova on the ready. I have Juggernaut drawing out some loops on the map here as they decide to head into the Roshan pit. And this is a smart call because right now Waza did not have vision of it, but somehow they're still pinging it out, aware that they're for sure doing Rosh right now. And AA was the first to ping it, and he's spot on, following it up with an ultimate of his own, and Jericho dives in. Now you have Phoenix jumping forward and supernoving behind enemy lines, and so Jericho's going to be without his team as Mag is in the background, stalling everyone out with the supernova, throwing out the burns, and you have Aurelius freezing people up and throwing out Winter's Curse as well to continuously draw out this fight. Jericho might be able to get a kill for himself, and he does pick off the Venomancer. Not Supernova. Phoenix ultimately died for his efforts as well, but that's going to be a 2-for-5 exchange as Queen of Pain does get back into the game, but she did, I believe she fell. I believe that was a 2-for-5. Let me check that.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
It's not going to be there. So 2 for 4, 2 for 5. Either way, it's more money in the pocket of Team Firestarter, as well as freeing up their ability to do Roshan uninterrupted. Taking a look at the net worth, you have Juggernaut hanging out slightly above the Wraith King.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
That final last hit, it looks like Windranger also surges ahead of the Wraith King, so you have 2 cores sitting on top of the Wraith King, but keep in mind he does have the Midas, so over time that lead will start to diminish and fade. It'll also allow him to get to his level 2 ultimate slightly faster, which he's already at, and it'll buy him that continued presence when he gets picked off.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
ABC doing the one-man rat back here as she pops her ultimate, harasses down the tier 2 tower as much as she feels comfortable with, and then blinks away to safety as 4 heroes from Team Waza converge into the bottom lane. And she teleported back to safety here. You have Haste being pinged out by Phoenix as he and his brother rotate to the top lane to reinforce Juggernaut here, who's about to get dove on by Jericho. Nope. Jericho just getting into position to defend, but he does surge forward here. And now you have the birds in the background, Phoenix diving into the background, tossing out a supernova, and Jericho immediately switches targets to focus on the egg, but Winter's Curse is right there to distract him, and that's the 2nd or 3rd time now that you've seen Winter's Curse and Supernova be used as a combo to drop the egg, stall out the fight, and prevent the enemy from being able to right-click down the egg. But while the top fight was going on, you have the counter engagement here in the middle lane as ABC takes on the remainder of Team Waza. Firestarters looking to push high ground here for the first time at the 23-minute mark. And they get a little bit of damage done to the tower, not much, and as soon as Jericho started teleporting to this top tier 3 tower, you saw Juggernaut spin away to safety and head back into the jungle to farm. And this is a good move by them. Even with the Aegis, you don't want to give it up for nothing, and you want to keep this constant state of pressure up. Choke out Waza's ability to apply pressure, their ability to farm, and their ability to leave base. And as soon as you can get them base locked and just kind of form a perimeter around here, right where the tier 2 towers typically are, then they're not going to be able to find the farm and the experience they need to recover and take this game into the 40-50 minute mark. Both teams dropping tons of sentry wards, trying to maintain vision here through the 20-minute mark. You have Jericho rocking the invisibility rune, jumping forward and just destroying the Queen of Pain, while the rest of the team fights it out in the trenches down below, and Juggernaut's just kind of hanging out and watching it at this point. But so far, Team Firestarters have been able to secure 2 more kills for themselves, dropping the Tusker, the Clockwork, and now the AA. Now all of a sudden, it's just 1 man left, the 1-man undead murdering machine Jericho fighting up against the last 4 heroes of Firestarters. He puts up a valiant effort, fighting till his 2nd death, but ultimately falls, so it's going to be a 5-for-1 exchange, and now they're going to surge forward, take a tier 2 tower with absolutely no resistance, and checking the buybacks. Nobody on the Radiant team has buyback, but they won't need it as they are all back in the game now.
Radiant structures have been secured.
So I'm trying to get back to the net worth chart here. Queen of Pain diving after Juggernaut here, who spins his way away from the Poison Dagger to freedom. Clockwork Missile comes up, but it's slightly off the mark as he was expecting him to continue into the Ancient stack. And instead, he just kind of sat there waiting out to see whether or not his team was going to try to counter-engage or if they were going to back off. Ultimately, the team decides to back off. They were able to successfully beat up against this Tier 3 tower, take a Tier 2 tower, and take a successful engagement of their own. Kupo rotating into the enemy jungle here, dropping out a number of offensive wards. And this is what I was talking about with the battle of vision for the game. As both teams have conflicting game plans here. You have Firestarters looking to keep up the aggression, and ABC blinking forward, shackle-shotting Jericho into the tree line. And Jericho's not going to have his ultimate this time, so he will likely fall here, but not before killing Mosey himself. Those big right clicks coming out from Wraith King, crushing the Queen of Pain after she was Winter's cursed by Dorelius, and after he successfully took out his own ally, he was dropped himself. So ABC on the Windrunner being the one to initiate there, having to pay for her aggression, but it yields the team 2 kills. Two kills on the 2 cores and the 2 highest net worth heroes of Team Waza. So definitely worth it. And at this point, the net worth is starting to fall out of control for Team Waza. They're going to need to mount a couple very successful defenses here inside of their base.
Radiant's top tower needs bandages.
And get back to farming and take this game into the 40-50 minute mark if they're going to be successful here. The difficulty with it is that Mag and Dorelius have been playing exceptionally well in tandem with one another, and they've been controlling the tempos of all of the team fights.
Thanks.
So I mentioned during the draft you have those 2 siegers in Kupo and Windranger, as they've been dropping down the plague wards and the focus fires, dropping towers as quickly as they can. And the teamfight mechanics coming out from primarily the Supernova and Winter's Curse, with the Cold Embrace on Winter Wyvern being there to secure anyone who might be near death.
A nasty situation.
AA and Clockwork are trying to constantly harass this team here with ultimates and rockets, but it's not doing very much damage here. And the damage that is done is eventually healed up by healing wards, salves, tangos, bottles, etc.
Do it with flair.
Yeah, I'm being lectured on my pronunciation of Jericho. Jericho. I know I'm not saying it right. I've never been a big wrestler. But yes, the Wall of Jericho is a thing. But for some reason, my mouth, every time I start with the J-E, I'm trying to say Jakiro. And so I have to catch myself from calling Wraith King Jakiro, is where my holdup is. But either way, it's the Wraith King, the Jericho, the Jericho, the Skeleton King of old. If you're an old timer like me, and you remember the good old days of Dota. Back in my day, it was Dirge and not Undying. Hardy har har. Windranger, Windrunner, I still use interchangeably. I know she got switched at one point, and I don't know why. That one seems so ridiculously close that it doesn't matter. Wraith King got switched around during one of the Halloween events, I believe 2 or 3 years ago, as there was a Wraith King event. Mosey making a jump here on ABC, and as she tries to run away, she's hooked by Feel It in Your Bones, who pops. He doesn't pop Cog, it was off cooldown, or it's on cooldown. And so she is going to be able to escape, eating a lot of poison damage, but Juggernaut there to heal her up with the healing ward. And now, let's see. Yeah, Kupo farming up the Ancients with his army of Plague Wards. Durelius picked up an invisibility rune, so he's going to rotate to this top lane here. But you see, even after Queen of Pain jumped Wind Ranger there, followed up by the Clockwork and his battery assault, it wasn't quite enough to stop the Wind Ranger. Part of that's luck with those two lining up, and an unfortunate shackle shot tying both of them up for a while. Now ABC surging forwards, throws out a shackle shot hoping for a second lucky hit, and this one's not going to be there. Most of Team Firestarter being able to successfully dodge the AA ultimate there. Winter Wyvern taking a little bit of damage, but nothing he won't be able to shake off. And now this is the base lock. You have about this territory to work with if your team was beyond that. It's being owned by Team Firestarter, who are slowly but surely increasing that gold advantage, sitting on about 22k advantage at the 32-minute mark. And they look to do their second Roche, as Kupo was able to spot it out with his wards after doing Ancients. This is going to go pretty fast. You have Mag hanging out in the front of the pack, spotting out any potential aggression, but there's not going to be any. You have some harassment coming out from AA and Clockwork as they fire rockets and ultimates and everything else, but Team Wazai know they're in no position here to do anything against this. And so in the meantime, Wraith King is going to head to the top lane, try to secure for himself as much farm as he can, while he knows he's in no true danger of being ganked. He's going to be joined by Sprang Baton and Mosey, who picked up Orchid as the first item. It looks like she's going into an Agnum's Scepter for her second to provide additional damage and the incredibly short cooldown on Shockwave. Make sure all these heroes have Town Portal Scrolls. The Wraith King does not, so he's trapped here. And Firestarters should know this. And they're acting as if they do, because they're pushing into the high ground here. You're going to have rotations coming back from the Queen of Pain and the Tusker, but
Dire's top tower isn't well at the moment.
Looks like
Radiant's middle tower may need a Radiant's middle tower.
Town Portal scrolls himself, so he did get back to the fight. He's making a go on Jakiro, but he gets Winter's Cursed even through BKB, and Magnus in the background popping his Supernova is going to be able to burn down the AA, the Tusker. Wraith King falls for the first time, and now it's just going to be him and a Queen of Pain taking on the 5-man army of Firestarters, who are all sitting at pretty full health. Mag burning himself down with some of his spells, but GG is called as Team Firestarter push into the high ground and finish off the first racks of the game. And with it, securing themselves the win, the GG call, in Game 1 in this best of 2 series between Team Firestarters and Team PeeNoise. So, both teams came into this game with a unique and counter game plan. Team Waza, aka PeeNoise, had to take it late. They had to get farm. They had to get, so Tusker, Clockwork, Wraith King were all meaty enough to endure the team fight initiation from Team Firestarter. Team Firestarter had a different plan from the onset, and that was to pick up as many towers as fast as they could through the Venomancer, the Wind Ranger, and then utilizing Winter Wyvern and Phoenix to wombo combo between Winter's Curse and Supernova, which they did exceptionally well through the game. And then whatever additional damage they needed was provided by Claws, who had a pretty simple go of things by the looks of it. He was able to farm up 239 last hits, most in the game, keeping him at above 500 gold per minute, and he didn't have a ton of pressure on him, as he was defended by his two supports, the Venomancer and Winter Wyvern, very early in the game, and they just zoned out Clockwork entirely. So you can see the countering positions there between Juggernaut 5-0 and Clockwork sitting at 0-6. So that was game 1, going the way of Firestarter. We'll be back shortly with game 2, and we'll see if Jericho is still in the game or if they're able to get their true 5th slot player on Team PeeNoise. So stay tuned. I'm going to throw it to a pause screen, kick off some music, and we'll be right back. Thanks, and stay tuned.